From our studio in Atlantic City and tonight from Trump Taj Mahal, I'm David Spatz, and coming up next, we'll sit down and chat with a true legend of Motown. Smokey Robinson joins me on tonight's edition of Curtain Call, and it all starts right now. And we're backstage in the Xanadu showroom at the Trump Taj Mahal with a gentleman whose music has been the soundtrack of two generations. Smokey Robinson.
David, good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome back to Atlantic City.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk new business first. And the album that you have out now, the most recent album, Timeless Love, something that you don't do too often is you're singing someone else's music, but good music.
Thank you. I agree. The music is, that's why I called it Timeless Love, because the music is timeless. Those writers are timeless, you know.
It's the great American song.
No question about it. And that was the first music I ever heard in my life as a kid growing up. So I just really love those songs, and I actually have been singing them in my live show for about 15 years.
Right.
And I always add one or two of them every show, and I decided to record them, and I'm very happy with how it came out. I actually recorded it differently. I was going to originally record it live, rent out a place, invite 500-600 people, something really intimate, and just do the whole CD live.
Right.
But I never got around to doing that, so I did almost the same thing, because I recorded them live in the studio, meaning that I had all the musicians in the studio playing as I was singing.
Something that's really not done anymore.
Not today.
Nope.
It's not even heard of, man.
I mean, most people don't even record in the same city as the musicians.
Absolutely not. And most people that play or sing on the same records don't even see each other.
Right.
Everybody's there on a different day. They're on a different track. Well,
I remember when Frank Sinatra recorded his first duets album, and Gloria Estefan was on it, and she recorded her part in Miami.
Yes.
And they used a T3 line to get the track out to L.A. and put it together with Frank. I mean,
exactly.
3,000 miles apart.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you went back to the original way of doing things.
Yeah, I did. I went back to the original way, and we had a ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you've recorded over the years, you have kind of adapted to the more modern recording methods. In other words, the musicians would come in, lay down their tracks, and then you go in and do the vocals, or have you always done it live?
Yeah. No, I haven't always done it live, no. I've been conventional also.
Right.
But I just decided to do it just to see, just to go back and do it that way, because it's like doing a concert in the studio. Mm-hmm. And everybody's feeding off of each other, and it was fun.
Well, at the same time, you also recorded another album of original material, right? While
Yes.
you were doing Timeless Love.
Yeah, which I'm finishing up now. I'm in post-production on that, and I actually did one of the songs that I did was done like you said. I had to send my tracks out. India Irie is singing one of the songs with me, and she lives in Atlanta, and I had to send the stuff out to her and have her do it, and then she actually almost like an emailed it back to us, and so. But most of the tracks that are on this particular CD, I also recorded at the same time I recorded the Timeless Love one. So most of that is done with the musicians in the studio while I'm singing.
Right, and it's all original material, the
all
new
original
album, which doesn't have a name yet, right?
Right.
When you write, and you're writing today in 2008, are you still influenced by the way you wrote back in the 60s, or do you adapt to the more modern musical forms?
David, I think that what happens with me is that I've always tried to write a song. I always wanted to write a song when I'm sitting down to write. I want to write a song. I hope it's a hit record, But if it isn't, if it's a song, it has a chance, because I feel like if I write something that would have been significant 50 years before I wrote it, or today, or 50 years from now, perhaps somebody can pick it up if I don't give it the right treatment and make it a hit song, But so I always try to start with a song, and I've always done that, and I still have that same feeling about it. I always want to start with a song. I always want to write a song.
You don't say to yourself, all right, I'm going to sit down and write my next hit. You sit down,
exactly.
I'm going to write my next song.
I'm going to write my next song, and then hope that it's a hit.
Mm-hmm. Of the thousands of songs you've written, I'm sure there have been some that you were convinced even though they were a song, you were convinced it's going to be a hit and didn't. And then by the same token, there were probably other songs that you never thought were going to be hits, and yet they turned out to be huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that happens to every artist and to every writer, you know. You have something that you feel like, oh man, this is it, and it isn't. And then you have something you feel, oh, well, this is a good song. I mean, because like I said, I always try to write a song. This is a good song, but you have no idea what the impact of it is going to be. And so, yeah, that's happened many times.
When you were 16 years old and just starting out, I remember talking to you about this years ago, and you said you could write some killer rhymes, but the lyrics didn't necessarily make sense. But it was Berry Gordy who kind of set you on the path.
Absolutely. When I met Berry, he kind of turned me into a professional songwriter, because he was a songwriter himself. This was prior to him starting Motown, and he taught me how to write songs. You know, I had a bunch of ideas rhymed up, and I would have 5 songs in one song. You know what I mean? But he actually taught me how to write songs.
In other words, he told you to make a story out of it, beginning,
Absolutely.
a middle,
beginning,
and
middle,
ending.
and ending that tied in together and meant something to people. And even if you didn't end it, you give them enough ammunition or enough material to create their own ending, but you have given them a story that they can relate to.
When you were starting out, what came first, writing the songs or performing for you? What did you like more?
You know, gosh, David, I don't know, because I've been writing songs since I was about 5 or 6 years old, man.
Wow.
So, you know, at that point, performing was not even in my mind. Performing didn't even come into my mind until I got to be about 11 or so. And it was just, as far as I was concerned, just a wild, impossible dream. But I always tried to write songs.
And yet, even after you had success with the Miracles, there were times when you were ready to walk away from the performing end to concentrate on writing and on the business end, weren't you?
Well, yeah. In fact, I did do that eventually.
Right. Eventually, it took you.
Yeah.
I know, from the time you thought about it to the time you did it was years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I only started to seriously think about it after my oldest son was born. And, you know, shortly on the heels of him, 2 years later, my daughter was born. So I really started to seriously think about it then, and that's when I did it, actually. And but yeah, I mean, you get to that point. The Miracles and I had done everything that a group could do. We had done that 2 or 3 times, you know. So, and we'd been doing it, you know, I'd been doing it right out of high school. And frankly, after my kids were born, I was really tired of the traveling, and because we traveled all the time. And I was really tired of that, and I was tired of the same old stuff over and over and over again. And I wanted to spend time with my kids. I wanted them to know me. I wanted to know them in their formative years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, well, that's when I did quit.
But you didn't really quit for too long, because then you came back and reinvented yourself as a solo artist.
Well, yeah, because it was in my blood. It is in my blood, and that's why I still do it today. I mean, performing is probably my favorite part of my work, as far as being a musician or a singer or a writer. Performing is probably my favorite part, because I get a chance to be with the fans. I get a chance to have fun with them, and one-on-one, you know.
And it's instant feedback too. I mean, you know exactly how you're doing as you're doing the show.
Sure, yeah, sure you do. And so yeah, but you know, I quit for about 3 years, and I was climbing the walls.
Really?
So, yeah, absolutely.
So writing and producing just wasn't doing it for you. You still had that need to go out.
No, it wasn't fulfilling. I mean,
Right.
I enjoy it very much so, and I always did, even after I stopped performing. But it wasn't fulfilling, like, you know, doing everything, like writing and recording and performing and all that. You know, that all put together is a very fulfilling thing for me.
There was a time in the early to mid to late 60s when you were writing for just about every Motown act out there, and writing for the Miracles and recording with the Miracles. Were there ever any times when you would write a song and give it to the Temps or give it to the Four Tops and then think, damn, why didn't I keep that for the Miracles?
No.
No?
No. I never felt like that. In fact, when you hear one of my songs by another artist, originally I wrote that song for that artist.
Really?
Yeah, I used to, see, I knew everybody. We were like brothers and sisters, and I knew everybody intimately. And I would formulate songs to fit the particular person that I was going to have singing it, you know, with words and stuff like that. Especially, there were certain words that, God rest her soul, I loved her, but that Mary Wells could not say good. So I would leave those songs, those words out of her songs, you know, and do the same idea with another word. But I really have always written for the particular artist that you hear one of my songs by first. That's who I wrote it for.
So you would write a song with the Temptations in mind, or
Absolutely.
with the Four Tops in mind?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously with the Miracles in mind, too.
Yes.
One of my favorite Miracle songs, and I suspect with a lot of people, is Tears of a Clown.
Well, thank
which
you.
was, I think, originally recorded in '67, but became a hit in '70. And I was really amazed to find out that, number one, it was originally going to be a Stevie Wonder song, right?
No, it wasn't.
Or he originally wrote it?
See, people can thank Stevie Wonder for that song, though, because Stevie had written the music and he had recorded it. He had recorded that track that you hear on that Miracles Tears of a Clown record. Stevie had already recorded that track, and he couldn't think of a song to go with it. He didn't have anybody in mind for the song, but he could not think of a song to go with it. So he brought it to me and said, hey, man, I got this great track, you know, and see what you can come up with on it. So I said, fine. And the music reminded me of the circus because of the little calliope thing that's in there. The bum, 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 ba-da-dun, dun, 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 dun. That's the circus. So I wanted to write something about the circus that I thought would be, you know, heartfelt. And so after pondering over it for a few days, you know, I thought about Pagliacci. Pagliacci was the clown who made everybody happy, all the kids, all the grown-ups. People, he was the focal point of the circus. And he just made everybody happy. And then he go in his dressing room, he's sad because he don't have a woman. Nobody loves him like that, you know. So Tears of a Clown is basically about Pagliacci.
Most kids who grew up in Detroit in the '60s and in the '50s who were in their mid-20s would automatically associate Pagliacci with the circus. Did you have were you exposed to a lot of opera when you were a kid?
Oh, I was exposed to everything. Yeah, David, I you know, there was all kind of music in my home, and I'm very happy about that because, you know, my mom, she played gospel and she played the blues and everything in between. And I had two older sisters, and they were playing jazz and some music that they call bebop, and, you know, and I was hearing that and classical, and we had everything.
So
I had a
you
great
were,
dose of music, man.
So you were influenced by all of it then?
Yes, I was.
Where did any formal training come out of that, or is this all on the job?
It's all on the job. You know, I never took piano lessons or singing lessons or anything like that. Or, you know, like I said, my mentor as far as writing would be Barry Gordy because he taught me the fact of or how to make my songs be complete or one complete idea. But other than that, you know, I was never formally trained on anything.
Wow. And so many people have recorded your music over
Thank
the years,
God,
and
yeah.
continue to record it, which would kind of bear out what you had said, and that is a song that you have written 20, 30, 40 years ago still has legs today.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope so. Yeah.
Wow. Who do you like today as a writer, as writers?
Oh gosh, there are a lot of people, a lot of young kids that I think are writing great music, man. I guess Alicia Keys would probably be, you know, my number one thought on that. But you know, you got her, you got John Legend, you got Justin Timberlake, you got Norah Jones, you've got Maxwell. You've got a lot of young people who are writing great music. You know, Kareem Bailey Ray. You know, got a lot of young people out there writing great music, man.
So the future seems bright for good music?
Absolutely, absolutely. You see that these people are on the top of the charts.
Mm-hmm. When they come to you, or do any of them come to you and say, I need some advice, I need to pick your brain, how does that make you feel? I mean, is that like an elder statesman? And I don't like to use the word elder.
Well, you know something? None of the people that I named have ever done that, you know.
Well, they should.
But I just think that they you know, they're like all writers. They're just writers. You know, like you take a young person like Beyonce. Mm-hmm. Her ideas just come to her, and she just writes them down, and she writes them, and that's what her inners tell her to do. You know, and she's a wonderful writer. And I think it's all that way for all writers. You know, an idea comes. I think creativity is the gift of God. And you know, these ideas and these musical things are channeled through the people who present them. And so it happens the same way for everybody, I'm sure.
Beyond music, I know you've got a food line out now.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Tell me about was it Smokey Robinson's?
It's Smokey Robinson Foods.
How'd you get into that?
Well, a really good friend of mine. He is my brother. We've been together for years and years and years and years. And his name is Leon Isaac Kennedy. And he has always been in the movie end of show business, you know, making movies. He acted and produced movies and so on and so forth, and writing scripts and what have you. And down throughout the years, he and I used to always talk about doing something that had nothing to do with entertainment, you know. So he comes to me with this idea, and to start this food company, because we started off with seafood gumbo, because that's one of our favorite dishes, both he and me, and mine, I mean. And so he came to me with this idea, and then after talking it over, we decided that what we would do with the proceeds is to have forums and classes and educational type things for young inner city and minority kids. And I'm not just talking black kids here. I'm talking inner city and minority kids, to teach them the art of entrepreneurship, to teach them the fact that they can be entrepreneurs, that especially young black kids who think that their only out is to be a rapper or a singer or a sports figure, you know. And because we're the people who are...
Which can be a very lucrative thing, but
can be a lucrative thing, yeah, you know what I mean? Because we're shoved down their throats 24/7.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and since I've been in the food business, I found out there are so many minority food companies that have been on the shelves for years, and we don't know that because it's not publicized as such, you know. But we want to let our kids know that they can be whoever they really are. And they don't have to pursue, because like you said, for every entertainer, they only see success.
Right.
So for every entertainer or every sports figure that they see who is successful, there are millions who are not.
Right. My kid goes out and signs a big basketball contract, and that's great, but how many kids didn't get the contract? Absolutely.
Who are pursuing that same thing. So they have just as good a chance of being an entrepreneur, being a doctor or a senator or an attorney or you know, whatever, as you do being an entertainer or a sports figure.
So Smokey Robinson Foods is a way of giving back?
I hope so, yes.
And you say it's a way of teaching them entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Who taught you, Smokey?
I guess if anybody would have taught me that, it would be my association with Berry Gordy, because of, you know, being there from the ground floor. And when everybody, there were 5 of us when we started. When he started Motown, there was him and 4 other people. And so we did everything, you know. We boxed up the records, we went to the radio stations, you know. And so it was like it's like an inbred kind of thing because of my association with him. And he's a genius. He's a genius businessman, and you can see by the results of what has happened with Motown around the world,
right?
You know, so yeah, I would say that was my influence in that.
In the early days of Motown, when you and Barry and the rest were going out and boxing up the records and going to the radio stations and doing all the promotion, you actually were writing it, you were recording it, and you were out there selling it. Basically, did you guys have any idea of the influence that Motown would have on the world?
No, not an inkling. I mean, I know that. Motown has grown into something that is beyond all of our wildest dreams, especially on that first day. You know, Barry just sat us down. He said, we're not going to make black music. We're going to make music for everybody. We're going to make music that transcends races and places and all that, you know. We're going to make music with some great beats and some great stories. And that's what we're going to do, and that's what we set out to do. And apparently, like I said, we did accomplish that, because Motown broke down so many barriers around the world, and so many racial barriers and what have you, through music.
So that was the business plan, you know, from day one, before they even had the term business plan. That was the idea.
Absolutely, that was the goal.
And that was Barry's goal?
Yes.
And what did you think? You know, okay.
Oh yeah, because I'm a young kid. I'm there, you know, and I'm in on the ground floor. This thing that's about to make me totally happy, because I'm getting a chance to live my dream. I have met this man who is giving me a chance, or through my association with him, I'm getting a chance to live my dream. I'm gonna be able to write songs and sing and make records and all that. You know, hey man.
And at this point, you're in your early 20s, and you're living your dream. I mean, people go an entire life.
No, I was in my teens.
In your teens.
Yeah, and yeah.
And you're living a dream that a lot of people.
Absolutely.
They don't really live the dream their entire lives.
No question about it.
You consider yourself blessed?
I am very, very, very blessed. I thank God every day because I am so blessed. Because I am living my dream. I'm living my love.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
We've been hearing the music in the background. That's your band rehearsing, and I know you've got to get out there and get ready for tonight's show. Smokey.
David, thank you very much.
It's been a
good
pleasure.
to see you.
Good to see you too. Continued success.
Thank you.
You don't